Dear student, in the previous video of the chapter 3rd, Pol Science, Electoral Politics, we discussed about what is our system of election. Under it, we learn about electoral constituency, reserve constituency and voter list. After the voter list, the list of the candidate is also prepared, who are stand for the as a representative. In India, there are almost no restriction on anyone to contest an election. But the following points we have to keep in mind related to this process. The minimum age for becoming a candidate in election is 25 years. It means any Indian citizen who is registered as a voter and is over 25 years of age is allowed to contest election to the Lok Sabha or the Vidhan Sabha. And for the Rajya Sabha, the age limit is 30 years. The next process is political parties nominates their candidate who get the party symbol and the support. And party's nomination is often called the party ticket. And every person who wish to contest in an election has to fill the nomination form and give some money as a security deposits. Every candidate has to make a deposit of rupees 10,000 for the Lok Sabha election and 5,000 for the Rajya Sabha or the Vidhan Sabha election. Expect for the candidates from the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes who have half of these amount, means scheduled caste and scheduled tribes have to pay half from the total amount. The next process is a new system of declaration has been introduced from the Supreme Court, and every candidate have to make a legal declaration that giving the details of the serious criminal cases that pending against the candidate, if any it is there. And secondly, detail of the assets and the liabilities of the candidate and his or her family. And the final is education qualification of the candidate. And this information has to be made public. It means this provide an opportunity to voters to make a decision on the basis of the information provided by the candidates. If they are finding their candidate has a criminal record and their assets are above that they required and their education qualification is not satisfied, then they will not give them chance to win the elections. And after the nomination of candidates form failed, the election process was going on, that is known as the election campaign. Election campaign. The main purpose of election is to give people a chance to choose a leader, the government and the policies they prefer. Therefore, it is necessary to have a free and open discussion about who is a better representative, which party will make a better government, or what is good policy. In our country, such campaign take place for a 2-week period between the announcement of the final list of the candidate and the date of the polling. And during the election campaign, candidate contact their voters, political leader address election meeting, and political party mobilize their supports. And in election campaign, political party also try to focus public attention on some big issue by using the slogans, such as the Congress party that led by the Indira Gandhi gave the slogan Garibi Hatao, means remove poverty. In the Lok Sabha election of the 1971, the party promised to reorient all the policy of the government to remove poverty from the country, means गरीबी हटाने के लिए country में सारी योजनाओं को फिर से शुरू किया जाएगा. Same thing is Save Democracy was a slogan given by the Janata Party in the next Lok Sabha election that held in 1977. And the party promised to undo the access committed during the emergency and restore civil liberties में लोगों की स्वतंत्रता को ध्यान रखना. Same, the left front use a slogan land to the tiller, means जो खेती करता जमीन उसी की. That was in the West Bengal Assembly election that held in 1977. According to election law, all parties and candidates shall avoid all activities which are corrupt practices, such as bribe or threaten voters, appeal to them in the name of the caste or religion, use government resource for election campaign, and spend more than the limit specified for the Lok Sabha election and for the assembly election. For Lok Sabha election, the expenditure can be between rupees 54 lakh to 70 lakh rupees. And for assembly election, it can be between 20 lakh rupees to 28 lakh rupees. and these limits are subject to change, means time to time it is also changed. If any of the above regulations are not followed by the candidate, then their election can be rejected by the court even after they have been declared elected. In addition to above the law, all the political parties in our country have agreed to model of code of the conduct. The model code of conduct lay down broad guidelines as to how to political party and candidates should conduct themselves during the election campaign. And for this, they can't use any place of worship for election propaganda. They can't use government vehicle, aircraft and officials for elections. And once elections are announced, ministers shall not lay foundation stone of any project, take any big policy decision or make any promise of providing public facilities. And after that, the final stage of an election is a day when the voter cast or poll their vote, that is known as a polling day. Polling day. Polling day is the day when the voter cast or poll their vote and when their votes are counted. On the election day, every person whose name is on the voter list can go to a nearby polling booth, usually in a local school or a government office. Once the voter goes inside the booth, the election officer identify them, put a mark on the finger and allow them to cast their vote. An agent of each candidate is allowed to sit inside the polling booth and ensure that voting take place in a fair way. भी कोई गलत वोट तो नहीं डाल रहा. Earlier, voting was done by the ballot paper, which is a document containing name of candidate with their election symbol. पहले पेपर पे वोटिंग होती थी, पेपर पे सिंबल के आगे मार्क लगा के उसे बैलेट बॉक्स में डाला जाता था. But nowadays, EVM means electric voting machines are used to record votes. The machine shows the name of the candidates and a party symbol. All the voters has to do is to press the button against the name of the candidate to whom she wants to give his or her vote. Once the polling is over, all the EVMs means electric voting machines are sealed and taken to a secure place. And after a few days, on a fixed date, all the EVM from a constituency are opened and a vote secured by each candidates are counted. The agent of all candidates are present there to ensure that the counting is done properly. And the candidate who secures the highest number of votes from a constituency is declared elected. In a general election, means Lok Sabha election, usually the counting of votes in all the constituency take place at the same time on the same day. Television channel, radio and newspaper reports this event, and within a few hours of counting, all the results are declared and it becomes clear as to who will form the next government. But during these elections, a lot of unfair practice in elections are reported by newspaper and television, like inclusion of false name and exclusion of junior name, means वोटर की लिस्ट में गलत के नेम होना और सही के नेम को निकाल देना, misuse of government facility and officials by the ruling party, excessive use of money by rich candidate and big parties to sell and purchase the vote, and intimations of voter and ragging on the polling booth. But the unfair practice are not on a scale to affect the very purpose of election. The election in India are conducted in a democratic manner. How it becomes a democratic manner, we will discuss in the next video. Now topic related these questions you have to do on your notebooks.